try to think in the same way as some of these fighters do before their fight.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. I mean, you have to be confident. That is kind of the first step, though, right? Like, if you're not confident, then you're probably losing. So while confidence may not win you the game, it at least, I feel like, doesn't take you right off it, right? If you don't believe you can win, then you can't win.
Yeah. Clem hasn't scouted anything, but he's staying on his side of the map, probably because he knows how tricky Marinelord can be with some of his own Reapers showing up or any potential attack right now. I don't think he knows about this proxy and is waiting for the right moment to go up there and defend, because as soon as that starts hitting, he's going to be losing walkers immediately.
Yes, indeed. However, SCVs are not terrible against Marauders, because Marauders will overkill and don't fire particularly fast. Marines much better at taking down SCVs quickly. So this is why I love that Marinelord is waiting as long as possible, as long as he's not spotted. And now with 3 Marauders, 4th one halfway done, he's gonna go inside. The units of Clem are nearby, but they don't seem to be enough. And the factory getting an add-on right now is not gonna help Clem either. Things are looking pretty good to start off for Marinelord. Oh, this mine though.
Yeah, we're looking for the full surround. Very important to get out of this. There could have been some friendly fire if he hadn't been careful, but Clem pulled all SCVs off the line. He really wanted to shut down this attack completely here. He will be able to get rid of his Marauders, but he's brought down to 20 walkers against 26. Might be a good idea to cancel that incoming Marauder here, Marinelord, because there is a Widow Mine waiting right outside at the exit.
Yeah, and all things said and done, I think, Todd, the ideal case scenario for Marinelord would have been if Clem was further out of position, like you were talking about. And with this said, I mean, while he is going to be a little bit ahead in workers for now, he doesn't yet have his orbital command. He doesn't even have a command center completed, actually. So I don't know that this was super successful.
Yeah, and we're already on triple gas here from Clem. So he's definitely mining quite a bit from that as well. On top of the mules that he's already using. We get a tech lab actually on the other side on the starport here for Marinelords, and he's getting a Cyclone to get ready for. I mean, after you go for this kind of attack, you always expect some sort of counter attack to happen sometime soon, and you would be right in that.
Yeah, so Marinelord is at least gonna get a heads up as far as what is going on here. Clem not blocking. Oh, I thought he was gonna reposition the tank to block this from happening. Marinelord actually stealing the add-on like the thief that he is. Stealing our votes, add-ons, and now he has to make an extra add-on, Clem, that is, in order to utilize his starport for a potential Raven. Will this be enough for Marinelord to hold?
Oh, he's the one that's out of position this time. At least he has the wall. Let's see if he reacts on time. Okay, yeah, he's going to be able to raise that. Actually, kind of traps the units here in the process.
Yeah, but the tank is not entirely in range to fire. So that is the dangerous bit.
You get the medivac, that would be huge.
Oh. Yeah, he should have targeted. Yeah. Definitely should have targeted the medivac there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Starts the 3rd CC immediately behind it. So Marinelord, this makes him so confident. Having killed those units, he's like, okay, I'm safe for a while. I'll get the 3rd command center to expand further.
Good fix there from Clem to target fire. A beautiful move from Marinelord to drop the auto turret, but it's not enough. I love that auto turret, anticipating that the medevac would pick up the tank. Unfortunately for Marinelord, that medevac escapes with nearly no HP. One more shot from a Marine might have done the job. Marinelord will spot this force moving for Clem. There is interference matrix on either side. And extra energy perhaps from Marinelord potentially to drop auto turrets. However, this medevac drop from Clement the Planche is gonna go into the main and kill a few SCVs. Also stop mining for a little bit.
Maybe an anti-armor missile would have been good as well for Marinelord, but yeah, they traded one Raven for one, so now only Marinelord is left over with the one that he has. And when we start having, like, you know, let's say even just 3 Vikings plus, that's when it's really dangerous for those Ravens to actually make any sort of movements in the air, especially, like, you just can't have them at the front, otherwise they're gonna fall very rapidly to those Viking shots. Clem really wants to be aggressive here. He sees the army in position defensively, he's like, I don't care. Just want to move there, you know, test you a little bit, see if you're reactive enough to defend against this. And so far, Marinelord has been.
He has aced the test.
It's time to start moving out and apply pressure the way he's doing it. Even though there is a sensor tower, like, you know, some good scans, if you can get set up one single siege properly, yeah. Like we've seen some of these games come to an end very abruptly. He's actually going to steam forward, fully realizing that there was not going to be enough units. This is what I was talking about. Marinelord cannot let this happen. He was out of position.
Yeah, unfortunately, he stimmed and showed his entire army on the top right on the top right of the map. So that gave Clem the go, as he was already out on the map with his army. And now this base is going to be the knight from Marinelord, who's going to try to potentially make something happen on the other side of the map. Scans, sees 2 tanks sieging. That might already be too much, as there's some turrets as well to help with the medevacs. And instead, on the retreat, perhaps catch some units.
Clem really wants to be aggressive towards his base, and he's reading the game so well every time, but this time there's a lot of tanks ready in position here for the defense. Anti-armor missile will land big time. Those units are getting Donald Trump here, turning orange.
Oh man. The SCVs mining the gas are actually what allows the extra range with the splash for Clem to pick off tanks that Marinelord could not pick off. However, Marinelord does have the extra tool in the Liberator, and for now on this side of the map, air control, as well as a harassing Liberator on the other side. Beautiful moves here from Marinelord to stabilize. And while yes, Clem has had a little bit better economy, that is perhaps not as important in this matchup as it is in any other matchup, because it really comes down to big fights and positional engagements, and that's what TVT is all about.
Way earlier upgrades for Marinelord. You're seeing this in the production tab. I mean, they started COVID Reactor at the same time, which is important because they are getting a lot of Ravens, both of them. But the 3-3 was never started for Clem. It's almost a halfway through down here for Marinelord, so that could be a big advantage if it came down to it and they actually took a fight, which it's never guaranteed because, you know, they're so reliant on the amount of tanks and Liberators that they have. And Clem, every time that Marinelord moves out of position, he's ready to attack into this base, and he will go for it again.
Yeah, and he will find himself a decent position with the tanks, only in range actually to siege one of the gases. And now Marinelord protecting his tanks with the Liberators, or protecting his base with the Liberators and protecting the Liberators from Marines with his tanks. So we'll be able to push this away once more. And while yes, Clem has found openings to actually get close to the base, he hasn't found the damage that he was looking for.
And 2 more starports here for Clem around his expansion. Ooh, he mistakenly queued double upgrade in one of his armories, actually, the one at the bottom. At his expo, big mistake there. Can't let that happen. I think he's pretty sure he wants to be getting both of them at the same time.
He is playing against the legend of Marinelord, so maybe he's just a little nervous himself. As Marinelord is looking strong. I mean, this is a very even game all the way through. This could still very much go either way. It's going to come down to 1 or 2 big engagements, I think, Johan. It's going to come down to the air battle, to the Ravens. And it's Marinelord now looking for a little bit of extra damage with that medevac to the south. I love that.
Yeah, they're doing the dance for now, just kind of waiting for the opponents to make a misstep, to move out of position. They're dancing the ballet. Yeah,
Is ballet French?
I think, yeah, it might be. I know we have a lot of dancers that do ballet.
Sounds kind of ballet. It sounds kind of French, the word.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely dancing the ballet. Marinelord, one of the best ballet dancers. Let's see what happens here as both of the tanks are gonna get disabled, and actually Clem might find himself in a position to continue on pushing. Remember, he has added a lot of starports there, so he will be able to contest these Liberators in the air soon.
Marinelord has more Vikings. They have the same amount of Ravens with 7 against 7. All right, here we go. Vikings on top of Vikings here. Anti-armor missile lands on the Ravens. Interference matrix about to expire in here on a lot of those tanks, but that orbital command is under heavy siege.
Yeah, it's gonna survive for now though, and the Vikings of Marinelord, like you said, there's more of them. The Liberator therefore is completely uncontested on the side of Clem. I loved some of the moves that Clem made, especially this one is really nice. Also during the fight, I think with the Ravens, he had some really cool moves to drop the turrets to try and help his Vikings, knowing that he had tank coverage, and that's a little bit of a mistake actually from Clem, losing both medevacs, having to pay attention every which way, as well as in the south where Marinelord's gonna find himself an opening to kind of siege this mineral line from behind and out of range of the planetary fortress. Overall, I would say another wash or so, right? It looked really scary for Marinelord, but again, he stabilizes.
Right, Marinelord's finally going on the offensive. Goes to speak on how confident he has gotten here after defending multiple times the attack of his opponent. Oh my god, the anti-armor missile hits so many of these Ravens and Vikings as well. Units on both sides falling very rapidly. We still got 15 Vikings to 14 and 6 Ravens to 6. They have an equal tank count. It's so even still.
Yeah, but the Liberators are crucial here for Marinelord. They will dislodge the position from Clem. Clem might have to go on a counter offense if he doesn't feel like he can contend with this army. It looks like that's exactly what he's gonna do. This could as well be a flank, but I don't think so. Clem looks indecisive as he retreats back to his base, potentially to defend. Marinelord also a little bit indecisive, not knowing whether he should stay, and will end up pulling back. But I don't like that pullback as much from Marinelord because he is behind in economy.
He's worried about the counter. I think his only priority here is to get maxed out with more army and then try to find an effective fight, which is just so hard, right? Like, it feels like for this whole game, they're just scanning one another, being tentative and not fully engaging, because whoever engages into a siege line like Clem's right now would get absolutely demolished. He actually unsieged. Oh my god. Marinelord leapfrog forward with those tanks here, and he's on the chase a little bit, but he can't go too far against that tank line here. Auto turrets will drop some of these tanks out of there.
Yeah, no, it's Marinelord with the auto turrets first, but the Viking numbers and the anti-armor missile favoring Clem for a second there, as now he's willing to turn. The Liberators willing to engage the air to soak up some shots and do some AoE damage to the Vikings of Clem. Will push him back for the time being. Yeah, it looks like you're right, Todd. It looks like Marinelord really wants to take a decisive engagement. It is a very important base for Clem. The same can be said for this basis for Marinelord, and Clem is actually going for it as he lands all of his Vikings. Now the tanks for Marinelord are sieged on the other side of things. More Vikings here for Clem than there are for Marinelord, I believe, but now a few more Vikings are joining in for Marinelord, and with that anti-armor missile, he's gonna get the edge once again. No Liberators this time around to dislodge the tank force of Clem, as Marinelord is gonna continue to break his rocks, will lose a base for his troubles. But this might be an opportunity for him to capitalize. Imagine just having one of those Liberators left over here, Todd. He would be able to make those tanks unsiege, go on the chase, and this could be a game-ending maneuver from Marinelord. Unfortunately, just lacking that one Liberator. Yeah, the way that Marinelord engaged those Marines, actually, if 3-3 was done for Clem, I think Clem would have won with the extra medevac against those Marines fighting in the line, and then that gets a little bit more troublesome for Marinelord on that side, as he needs to allocate some resources there to answer. Marinelord instead is pushing the north of the map, and here we see a large force of Clem that's most likely going to be able to deal with this command center rather easily. Some Liberators, though, beautifully sieged, and with the siege tanks in the back, Clem could easily overextend. This is a very tense game, very evenly matched, Johan.
Yeah, they're going toe-to-toe here. Like, supplies still somewhat about even. Ship weapons and vehicle plating level 3. Completing now for Marinelord. So many upgrades have been made this game. And now, Marinelord is full of confidence, finally. You know, he just kept on defending well enough everywhere. He lost the base. He's like, all right, it's my turn to attack. And he's actually finding some big damage here. Forces the orbital command to lift up and actually snipes it with the Vikings. But on the other side, I think this attack was detected, though. Okay, he's moving back to defend.
Oh, huge anti-armor missile, but is that going to be enough? One of the tanks in range to fire, that's going to help out a lot. But these two red tanks are not going to have much of a say. A lot or all of the Marines of Clem are deep in the red, and now Clem going for a big attack, big surround here. The Ravens are going to help with interference matrix, and Clem is going to be able to clean out. Much needed cleanup for Clem, who's still trailing behind in supply after all of this.
This game is crazy, man. Like, oh my god, if the whole series is like this, we'll be losing our minds. Marinelord 173 supply to 145 now, still sieging towards the top. They have equal tank count, 5-5. But Viking-wise, Marinelord is doing so much better with 20 against 5.
These Liberators as well. What a
air control, man.
I mean, not just here, right? In the group stages as well. Clearly just showing up here and saying, hey, this is not a fluke. I'm actually looking the best that I've looked in a long time, if not ever. Marinelord with fantastic TVT here. This game is not close to being done, however, as Clem is still going strong, and on the offense, he's going to find a couple of tanks. No more Raven energy to speak of. I think maybe a little bit more will net him another interference matrix, but now finding an opening, gonna go all the way and look for the production of Marinelord. Not that many tanks on the side of Clem. There is Liberators still for Marinelord, so he can dislodge this location, and if he has enough army, then he can collapse onto it. But it's a very, very tense moment. This could very well decide things.
Such a sick move by Clem to say, okay, like, you're pressuring me too much, you got complete air control, there's no way I can defend for much longer. So he goes on the offensive himself, but now no reaction on those tanks. A lot of them have already gone down. Marinelord might just go for the full-on engagement here. Tanks on the right side trying to defend against the Marines. There is 1, 2 on the high ground as well. And Clem is getting cleaned up. Marinelord takes a massive supply lead now.
Wow. Yeah, beautiful defense on his side of things, right? Clem was like, oh, you're chasing me? I'm going to continue to dive on deeper. But Marinelord was already settled there with a few tanks sieged and his reinforcements not being necessarily rallied all the way forward. I think that was even tricky for Clem because Marinelord did rally forward some reinforcements, and that would be the 500 IQ play if it was on purpose. Like, hey, look, I'm wasting a few Marines, but I got a bunch more in the back, right? Because then Clem kind of overextends, goes in too deep, and like you said, it's a 50 supply advantage for Alexis Marinelord. So he is gonna have another engagement, but if there is a third wave, he's gonna start lacking that energy. The Ravens are gonna run out of fuel effectively, and then Marinelord could find another opening. So he's gonna have a couple of punches to throw here at Clem. The Liberator has been the MVP unit of this game.
The map has been completely split. So it's always going to be important, the resources lost. Tab telling a lot here in this case. Unless one of the players can somehow get this massive army that's like really hard to stop, but they're still like equal in terms of supply, but army value definitely favoring Marinelord quite heavily here.
Yeah, and he thinks this is an opportunity, but just as he goes in, Clem has a tank siege. There are no medevacs whatsoever on the side of Marinelord, so every stim is kind of costly. He thought that he could commit. He thought that he had an opportunity, not finding it. Let's see what Clem can find, as this maneuver has already yielded him some good results in the past, but now scanning that Marinelord is willing to continue to push on forward, Clem will scan and pull back himself.
I'm not sure if Clem wanted to pretend that he was going to move out across the map. Probably, yeah. I think he's trying to move out of the way to let Marinelord get impatient and then attack into him. And then he will come in from the sides when Marinelord wouldn't expect it. But the thing is, Marinelord's using this position really well now to siege at the top. Oh my god, there's so many of these Marines above this planetary fortress, just kind of seeking refuge with the 1 medevac.
Yeah, and now with that position that Marinelord is actually sieging at the north, then Clem feels committed here because Marinelord with this position, he's not going to charge on forward. That is a good enough base for him to take down and feel happy about. So Clem instead is going to go south and a little bit of a pseudo base trade. It may not turn into a full-on base trade, but I mean, taking each other's key bases here with the most resources at the south and north of the map respectively.
Each player could actually very easily fly their main orbital to that base again now and retake it. The problem with that is that, you know, if it's not a planetary, it's very easily attackable. And we've seen this whole game how there is almost no base that's safe, really. Marinelord finally he's going for the final upgrades. He's gotten almost every upgrade that there is to get on these units, actually all of them. He's now going for vehicle weapons +3, which Clem, stopped after the number 2 himself.
Yeah, this is some ballet we're watching here, Johan. And Clem is looking for a little bit of a ballet parking with those tanks as he's gonna siege one of the very important bases of Marinelord now and actually just go for it straight up with those Marines. However, Marinelord with a good anti-armor missile will force the Marines to respect the planetary fortress. And now it's just the tanks that are gonna get kind of disabled. However, Marinelord, all of his army is very deep in the red, has to siege those tanks in the back. Now Clem coming in with his own Ravens will disable the entire force of Marinelord. Both players are kind of even-ish in supply. A lot of the Raven energy spent for Marinelord in order to try and protect the tanks, and Clem will be forced to tap out. After a massive engagement, Marinelord will secure the first.